Hello again. I know I spoke about Ireland's enthusiasm for forging a multi-ethnic society just a few days ago, but that was before we celebrated World Hijab Day. What? You didn't know that Tuesday just gone was a day on which we all voiced our approval for this garment designed to keep girls out of mischief? Shame on you. It seems this is now a big event in Ireland. They, having discovered in that country that having begun to throw off the shackles of their narrow-minded adherence to the Church of Rome, they are in desperate need of another conservative religion to fill the gap. This serves only to confirm what I have long suspected, that getting rid of Christianity in European countries does not clear the way for liberal and humanist societies, but rather gives an opening for Islam to squeeze its way into cultural life. This is quite funny in a way because a lot of people who grew up in Ireland complained about the old-fashioned and reactionary influence of the Catholic Church in the country and boast that this is now on the decline. And yet we now see the national broadcaster of the Irish Republic speaking approvingly of hijabs. In the description to this video I give a link to such a piece which is unsparing in its praise for all those young girls who are now dressing in a more conservative and restricting fashion than any convent school ever demanded of its pupils. We read that Fatma thinks that overall Ireland is a good place for a Muslim girl to grow up. I bet she does. And her parents too, no doubt. I have no idea if this mad desire to make the country more mixed began when they chose an Indian homosexual as Prime Minister, but this can hardly have helped. Some of us in Britain had envied the Irish the fact that they seem to have escaped some of the madness to which the rest of Western Europe has succumbed, but it was, I suppose, too good to last. There are powerful geopolitical forces at work, pressing all the nations of Europe to open their borders and embrace coloured immigration. A few nations, Hungary and Poland for instance, resist this pressure and even put up fences to protect their borders. In Ireland's case, one would have thought this scarcely necessary, for they are safely tucked away in the Atlantic Ocean and shielded from mainland Europe by Britain. Somebody must really have gone out of his way to arrange for Nigerians and Saudis, Egyptians and Indians to come and settle there. It really cannot have been chance alone. It may well be the case that the erosion of all European cultures in this way is just something which has happened more or less spontaneously. But if so, it's hard to see how this process might have spread to Ireland like that. Ireland has, as I said earlier this week, no historic links with Africa, India or Saudi Arabia. And yet, lo and behold, people from those areas appear to be making a beeline for Dublin. Only a few years ago, the idea of any child in an Irish school wearing a hijab would have been grotesque. But it now seems that the Irish are as ready to abandon their own cultural heritage in favour of those who have their origins in hot countries as we in Britain have been. I find this very strange. Assuming there is not some kind of worldwide conspiracy which causes countries to roll over in this way and allow other nations to impose their ways on the natives, I wonder what the explanation for this can be. Are there financial benefits to Ireland in importing a bunch of foreigners in this way? Are they getting cheap workers out of it? Or is it that, belonging as they do to the common market, they are pressured into such a course of action? Any information about this would be very interesting.